All right, guys, let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche and their upcoming 2024-25 season. They finished last season off with a loss in the second round to the Dallas Stars after another season without Gabriel Landeskog and a couple of issues with Nichushkin entering the player assistance program again, albeit at the end of the season. Um, so yeah, another probably disappointing season for Colorado. The question is can they bounce back from that? And to take us through the projected lineups, I'll hand over to Jaden.
Yeah. So as per cap wages at the moment, we got at the start Lekanen, McKinnon, Rantanen, no changes there. Druin, Colton, Middlestat, Wood, Kelly, O'Connor, Kiviranta, Wagner, and Poland. That's the projected top 12. Then defense, Taves, McCarr, Gerard, Manson, Brandstrom, Malinsky. A little bit further down, we got goalies, Gorgiev, Anunin, and then just in the backups, just notable press box, Kovalenko, Dehaan, Shillington, and MacDonald. So a few new new faces to say the least in regards to basically bottom six. Defense pretty much stays the same, and goalies just Francouz or Francouz moving out, but you still got Gorgiev there. That's probably the big question mark with this team is goaltending. And as you mentioned, Landeskog, still iffy when he'll or if ever he'll start this season. Hopefully, hopefully at some point.
He's
But
aiming for a
yeah,
return this season, but
yeah,
it's still, yeah, very
he
much
was suspected close
unsure.
last season. He's still not there right now. It's a little bit worrying that he's not there right now from the off season. If
Hmm.
he was going to be close in playoffs, but you know, hopes are high. We all respect Landeskog as a player, so you really want him to play.
Yeah.
And obviously as you mentioned, the Nichushkin thing, just another one. So I'll just go over to just notable losses. This isn't all their notable losses, obviously. It's just the players with the most minutes that were played that are no longer with them. And I'll just let Nick go through some of those notable losses.
Some of those notable losses. Um, yeah, so I mean, look, first off, you've got Sean Walker, who again, played 18 games for them, but it wasn't a massive loss. I'm not going to sit here and be like, um, yeah, if they could have signed him, I think it would have helped them, but I don't think it breaks them, especially with the fact that they brought in Eric Branstrom. Branstrom, I think he can sort of do a similar job. Obviously, there's no signing on Zach Parise yet, and I'm not sure whether or not he will come back or whether he will announce his retirement. If he has already announced his retirement or something like that, our apologies, we just haven't heard anything. Um, you had the loss of Jack Johnson, which again I don't really think or classify as a loss. Sorry for any Jack Johnson fans out there. They lost Caleb Jones, who become an unrestricted free agent, as you said. Goaltender Fran Kuz, or I don't really know how to pronounce that. Um, Andrew Cogliano and Dihame. Um, on top of that. But again, it's not there's nothing major there in terms of losses. Like they haven't lost any top six or top four defenders, in my opinion. They've just lost depth pieces. I guess the question is what they've picked up good enough to replace that? They've obviously picked up Kelly Parker and also who was it? I can't remember the other guy that they picked up. Eric
Yeah,
Brandstrom
Brancham, Ottawa, poaching
from
Ottawa.
Ottawa.
Mm.
Yeah, they poached Ottawa there. But the question is, I mean, Kelly Parker played 80 games last year for only 18 points. Brandstrom puts in the work and puts in the minutes. 20 points in 76 games as a sort of defender. Yeah, look, most of their pickups have been just to replace the sort of depth pieces that they've lost. But the question for me is, with no Valery Nichushkin with his suspension, although that is due to be up, well, he is due to be reinstated in November. I shouldn't say it's due to be up. He has to be reinstated, which may not happen. And the question marks surrounding Gabriel Landeskog. I do have my worries for this team because that depth bottom six isn't looking fantastic. Their defense is fine. We know how good Tays and Makar are on that first line. Samuel Gerard when he's fit and healthy. Manson, they're very serviceable. Brandstrom, I don't know too much about Malinsky, but he played 23 games last season for them, 10 points. And they've also got, Calvin DeHaan and Shillington as backups if Malinsky doesn't pan out. So I'm not too worried about their defense. Their goaltending issues always been sort of questionable, but Gorgiev's not a bad goaltender. You can be serviceable with them, and they won a cup with Kemper, so that doesn't say anything. But my big worry for them is it really is outside of McKinnon and Rantanen. What do they have? Like it's a massive drop off. You've got McKinnon with
Yeah,
140 points, Rantanen with 104 points, and then Jonathan Drouin is your next best at 56, and that's really good. Like that's fantastic from Drouin, and he's really sort of revamped his career. They obviously re-signed him at 2.5 million, which is a really good contract for what he did last year. But where else is it coming from? Like I just unless you're going to get a massive upcoming season from the new inclusion of um Parker Kelly, like I just don't know where anything else is coming from if Landeskog doesn't return and Nichushkin doesn't return as well. Like I just feel like those two players, without them,
what's
I could
13
see
mil, right?
Colorado.
It's 13 mil
Well,
lost right there, and taking their
exactly.
cap away from that, and where they're at now, I think they've only got like 4 or something mil still left in the cap.
Hmm.
With those two missing, so you got 4 mil to add a piece in, or a couple pieces in, however you split your money. But as you mentioned, I don't got no problems with their top six. Very serviceable. I can play with that any day of the week. It's the bottom six.
Hmm.
Um, Besides Parker, there's not much there that I'm like, oh yay, that's in my team.
Yeah.
Miles Wood, he has the potential to do something, but he just doesn't. Um, like Logan O'Connor, 25 points in 57 games,
He
it's
and
commendable.
and and his season, O'Connor's season was cut short.
Hmm.
He has been he was playing some really good hockey up until that point, and he was extremely serviceable. But the question is, how's he going to return?
Yeah,
Um,
but
and
but yeah,
it's
and then
not
you got
something.
nothing on the fourth
Yeah.
line here. There's basically nothing. Poland's there as an addition there, but 7 games as a 25-year-old. It's
Hmm.
like 1 goal. This is the problem. That's where it needs to be shored up. Granted, it's the easiest place to um, you know patch up as a GM is your depth forward because there's just pieces to get, and it's where the cheap contracts are.
Yeah.
Granted, you might have a young kid come through and play. I forget his name. I'm just having a look at Callum Ritchie. He's the one that signed the EOC. Obviously, it doesn't mean he plays this season, but there's always a potential that just out of nowhere one of these kids can come through and just carry hard. But as it stands now, this is very worrying, especially if you don't get Landeskog at some point, especially if you don't get Nutrition back at some point, and even if you get them back, it just puts you in cap hell as well.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of management. Obviously, they know more of the stuff behind the scenes and how it's probably going to play out, but it looks like cap hell with no depth, and I don't know how like McKinnon's back is feeling, but after carrying for so long, it might him and Rantanen might actually
It
just
might just
end
yeah.
up with back problems by the time they're 30.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, it is disappointing. I mean, at the end of the day, they've won a cup, so at least they can say that, and that's the positive here. However, I think we were all expecting that they were going to be a contender for some years to come, and I know losing Landeskog 2 seasons ago after winning the cup didn't exactly help their case to go back to back and all the rest of that. But yeah, I just feel like unless they get him and Nichushkin back, if they do, then all of a sudden this whole forward line and forward structure changes. You all of a sudden you've got the likes of Ross Colton, Druin pushing down to the third line, and all of a sudden, this team's like, oh wow, okay, it is fairly dangerous. But then you've got the question mark of how does Landeskog come back? Is he anywhere near you know what he used to be? Nishushkin, how much longer is he going to do what what he was able to do before he went back on the player assistance program? Will he stay off it? Because if he goes on it again, his career's pretty much over, and he may not even return from this. So, yeah, I know they've got the potential to. Obviously, they might re-sign Zach Parise. You just never know. So they could. The way this fourth line looks right now is probably not how it's going to look on opening night. However, it is a little bit worrying. In saying that, any team that's got Nathan McKinnon, Mika Rantanen, and Cal McCarr, uh, you know, they're still most likely going to make the playoffs. The issue is how far can they go? Because I feel like without a solid depth six, bottom six, and those depth players, you're not really gonna go anywhere in the
Yeah.
playoffs, even if you make
And
it.
how many comeback wins can you really keep scraping through a season? They had so many
Oh, exactly.
comeback wins last season, and that's normally a sign. Obviously good mental fortitude to continue going on when you're down, but it's also a sign of bad things because you are down.
Yeah.
um, so it is my worry that maybe losing so many pieces, a lot of that mental fortitude won't be there. They still have a lot of pieces from their cup run, so that helps. But if you don't get those comeback wins like they did last year, I could see them, being a wild card if this depth does not perform.
Yeah.
It is my big worry. You know, being a New Jersey Devils fan, I know how poor Miles Wood can play. I'm a big fan, big fan of Parker. So it's not always points around him, and he can
Yeah.
perform, be solid. Same with O'Connor. But yeah, that fourth line's non-existent. You get any
Mm.
injuries on the top line there, and it could be season over. Just
It's
straight up
big
there.
trouble.
Yeah,
Exactly. Like you see Lehkonen only played 45 games last year. That was a massive strain on the team. Yeah, look, it's disappointing, and you've got the likes of Nashville Predators who have only gotten better in the off season in the Central. Um, I know sort of St. Louis Blues. There's question marks around, but Winnipeg Jets probably aren't going anywhere. Dallas aren't going anywhere, and Nashville aren't going anywhere. So you've got three teams there that are going to push hard to push them out of the top three, and then you've got a couple of teams around that wild card mark that might just be enough to kick them out of the playoffs. I think McKinnon and McCarr and that are strong enough to get them a playoff spot, but it is definitely worrying. Um, and yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what they do if they do any more
mm.
shuffling, or maybe a couple of kids come out of camp ready to go on that fourth line. But yeah, I
But
guess
well, their defense is
big
kind of
question.
sorted. Is like in their press box, they got three
Yeah,
defenders there. Like in regards to depth, that that third line, you get Dehan, Shillington, McDonald. Like
yeah,
that's
I'm not
sorted.
worried about defense.
The problem is
Yeah,
they're all negative players from last season. That's my only negative on that. Depth is they're all negative in the plus minus. Um,
none of them were playing on good teams though. Let's be
I was about
honest.
to say that, yes. That does come with the territory.
Yeah,
Uh, so that is my only positive, is that you don't really have to look at defense for this team. It really is
no.
shoring up that fourth line and possibly tr- trying to
Hmm.
get, I would say, Miles Wood, even um, Parker Kelly onto the fourth line somehow. Try and
Yeah,
somehow move them onto the fourth and shoring up your third, make it a strong
yeah,
third. I think that's the key. I don't know if it's doable with the amount of cap space plus all the issues of players coming back, and then there'll be even more cap hell.
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna have
you
to
know,
be through young kids, I think, through their training camp. I
yeah,
don't think they're gonna be able to pick someone up
that
unless
or
they do
amazing
some sort of
trades.
training. Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
you're selling. I don't even know who you would sell to be able to do an amazing trade
Nah,
within this
there's
team.
not many options.
No, it'd have to be some crazy thing like you're getting rid of a Sam Gerard for some reason, and
Yeah, but
but what you
yeah,
get back, like it would have to be something insane.
yeah,
But and I
exactly.
can't see it happening. Obviously, just final notes. You got Druin, 1 year. See if he can do it again. Rantanen, his contract year, prime of his career. Maybe he hits 50 goals this year because of it.
Hmm.
And Gorgiev also, with 1 year left, can he, perform to increase his salary as well and be that sure player that they're happy to have play 60 plus games again in net
Yep,
because you got pretty much a youngster in Anun in there and see how much he can actually take on as well. I guess
e-
I'll leave
exactly.
this one to question to you. Who's your player to watch?
Player to watch. You had mentioned one of them. I've got Jonathan Drouin.
Druin?
He's been up and down through his career, and he had a massive season last season with 56 points in 79 games. But we've sort of seen this from him before, where he comes out, has a great season, the very next season he bombs. It was his first season in Colorado. He's signed a new $2.5 million contract. He wants to get that longer term contract. The question now is, can he back it up? He's my player to watch.
Yeah, that's a good one. I guess I'm going to probably for a safe one here. It's a really safe one in regards to Gorgiev. Um,
Yeah.
that's my
Okay.
player to watch. If he has a bad season, I pretty much say Colorado have a bad season.
Hmm.
Sparking, depth goalies really outperforming. Um, so basically, I feel like a lot rides on Gorgiev being able to play over 50, probably even 60 games again
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah. No. Awesome. Well, as always, let us know who your player to watch is in the comments below. Whether it's for a good reason or whether you think they're going to obviously have a down season. Just let us know in the comments. And unless you got something else to go through, Jaden, I think we're
Yeah,
done.
yeah. Like video, comment below, subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, we'll catch you guys.
Catch you guys. Bye.